Hey there, AJ Mahara here. Welcome back to the channel. Whatever's happening for you. If you find anything here helpful, please do hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and maybe check out the notification bell too. This channel could use a little help in the algorithm. Well, actually, a ton of it, but hey, whatever. So, person left a comment on the podcast I did the other day or whatever. Wherein I mentioned, I don't want to bore anybody with this, sorry. But wherein I mentioned my dog Jake was going to be euthanized, and that happened yesterday. And kind of rather difficult because there was something that happened in the middle of it that shouldn't have happened, and he was unduly stressed, and then it's a mess. But anyway, I can't talk about it or I'll start bawling. So, a commenter said on the podcast I did, Quiet Borderline, Inner Persecution, and Codependent Reactionary Projection. My ex with undiagnosed quiet BPD really did a number to me. Lied to me our whole relationship, monkey branch, came back to me with an STD. Our relationship didn't last long after that. Well, I'm sorry to hear all that happened, and it not lasting long after that is probably the healthiest thing that could have happened, right? And the commenter continues, there were times where she was very emotionally abusive, and I'm sorry to hear that. That's often the case. There were times when she would lie to everyone around her. Yes, because believe it or not being a BPD apologist here or excusing their behavior, but their lies happen rather automatically because it's about defense and protection. And that doesn't make it right, though. So she lied to everyone around her. And then the commenter asks, are you saying these people are unaware of how manipulative they are? Well, here's something for all of you to think about. Sorry, I shouldn't be talking like an American. I don't, y'all. That's not for a Canadian, okay? Am I saying that these people are unaware of how manipulative they are? Well, first of all, what I say in a video is kind of what I'm saying, right? So whatever I said in the video or the podcast, I don't know. But to that point, though, there are a lot of them that they might know or be aware that they're like of some of what they're doing. Do they often, well, it's individual, first of all, but do they often recognize it as the manipulation that it is, the lies that are involved, etc.? No, they're not all aware of that. And so they can be aware of what they're doing, sort of, but they're not aware that it's manipulation. And maybe some are, but not everybody with BPD is the same. And you have to remember, too, when you're hurt by somebody with BPD, whether you're in a trauma bond and you can't get away, etc., or whether you do, like this person said after what happened, pretty much that was the end of the relationship, which is actually a healthy thing. I would challenge everybody who's looking, because you've been with somebody with BPD or NPD or comorbidity both, or you think they're psychopaths, you think they're everything in cluster B, which isn't true, but whatever. Whoever you've been with, whoever you've been hurt by, be it a parent, not only a partner, etc. It's really important that I think it's important, just a suggestion, that each individual deals with the individual in your healing, with your question, deals with the individual that you experienced and what they did, which this person is largely doing until they say, are they unaware of how manipulative they are? I think a lot of people with codependency who've been with a, cluster B of any sort need to start realizing that they're not all the same, and you'll see it all over the internet. Everybody's like, oh, mine did that too, dude. Well, they're not all the same. And so it's really important to remember that, and to, rather than ask a question like, so are you saying that they're all unaware that they're manipulating? No, not necessarily, but I'm also not saying they're all aware that they're manipulating. Because we can't just talk about human beings like some, great big group that does the same thing all the time, even though you see lots of familiar patterns talked about. But then what a lot of people with codependency aren't thinking about when they're talking about the BPX, etc., and how they manipulate or lie, and do they get it or not. You don't realize how many patterns that each of you as codependents have, pretty much in common. And the ways in which you might tend to perceive things that, after the fact, when you're looking at it, you just want to hear what you want to hear. And it doesn't necessarily make it true for every single person with BPD. And like I said, nor should you be concerned with every single person with BPD or NPD. Because unless you've had, like, the person that you've been with, yes, but all of them? Too many people are too reductionist, too lazy, too after clickbait to say, well, borderlines do this, and all narcissists do that, and all borderlines are narcissists, which is wrong, and all they're secondary psychopaths, and all they're psychopaths, No, but if it floats your boat, whatever, I mean that generally, not to the commenter. She told everyone, the commenter continues, she told everyone I'm abusive narcissist. Well, lots of them do that. Can't say they all do that, but many of them do that. And that's because they will, they've split you to blackened evaluation, and now you're going to be the boogeyman. And it doesn't mean you are, but that's, again, their, distorted defensive thinking, which is inexcusable too, that they call people abusive narcissists, and that they don't clearly see in any real aware way what they're doing. So they project onto, like this person's partner for a time there was projecting onto him, not saying she was a narcissist per se, but projecting onto him what she was doing to him, and then saying he was doing it to her, which isn't true. She tried to get me banned from a bar I frequent. Well, yeah, it's the power and control struggles are toxic, and there's no sanctioning that. Always playing the victim when I firmly believe she knew exactly what she was doing. Well, you can firmly believe that, and, you could be right. I don't know. You were with her. I wasn't. But it's not always. They might know something about what they're doing with a lie. They tend to believe their lies. She might have known what she was doing in trying to get you banned from the bar. But it doesn't mean she was totally aware of how it would affect you. Because she's not thinking about what matters for you, right? She's only thinking about, in this case, probably her own anger, her own, rejection and or abandonment, and which doesn't make her behavior right. And then she's focused on punishing you and getting revenge. So, and are they always super aware of all of that? Not really, but they do it, and it's inexcusable. And maybe she was. You said you're convinced she was. But when I work with clients, I've been doing it for 34 years, lots of people say, I'm convinced. And I hear much more of what happened. And it's like, often there are times and places where borderlines are really acting out and hurting people, and you'd be surprised how little they actually are aware of what they're doing. I mean, even if they lie or whatever, it's like they're just not, they have no self-reference, and they can do a lot of damage to people, but it doesn't mean it's all pre-planned and all understood, in their minds, or like for sure they're aware of it all. It varies with different people with BPD. How can they not know what they're doing? She's somewhat intelligent. Well, here's a key thing about that. They cannot know what they're doing because it has nothing to do with their intelligence. It has to do with when their ability to think about some things correctly, which isn't in relational context. They have IQ, and many of them are very intelligent in the intelligence area of IQ. But they have little to no EQ, emotional intelligence. So intellectually, do they know kind of what they're doing or not? Hard to say. But definitely emotionally, and remember, their intellect gets flooded by their emotions. This we know happens in the brain. Again, not excusing what they do. But that's one of the reasons why a lot of them might look like they know exactly what they're doing when they don't, because they are totally in this dysregulated emotion reaction place, and they're just doing what they're doing, and they don't think about it. So any person with BPD, and especially untreated, who's, or not really well enough treated, who's reacting and lying and has split U2 evaluation and is calling you names and all this other stuff, they're in an emotional place of being flooded, so the intellect isn't even part of it. And that's also part of the reason why they may be more unaware than you think, even when it can really appear like from the intellect they really know what they're doing. But that's not always the case, or certainly not to the degree to which people who are hurt by their actions, and then some, it looks like they know what they're doing. But they don't always know what they're doing. But you know what? They're doing it, and people are getting hurt by it. But again, why do you even want to invest? And this is a general statement, not just to the commenter. Why do you think that you, or anyone that can relate to this, why do people want to invest so much in was it on purpose or not? Or did they get it or not? Were they aware of it or not? Because it doesn't, at the end of the day, really matter. Because they couldn't love you, they didn't love you. In this case, this person cheated on the person, they lied, they called them an abusive narcissist. So everything that they're doing, whether they actually get it or not, they're still doing it. And you're still receiving it. And it's still unhealthy. And so I think that that's what's more important than being convinced, maybe something she did know. But there are a lot of clinicians working with people with BPD that we can't get to the convince this person absolutely know what, because it's very difficult to know that. So, and I think it's more important for exes and people moving forward, or people trying to get out of the relationships and need to work with someone on the healing of the, to break the trauma bond, etc. Out here to work with you. If I resonate with you, it's not so important what they know about what they did as what they did and how it hurt you.